apparition walked backwards through the open window. Outside, the air was filled with moaning phantoms. Every one of them wore chains.
They suffered, for they sought to interfere for good in human matters and had lost the power to do so forever.
Scrooge went straight to bed and pulled the covers over his head. He awoke to hear the chimes striking. 1/4 past, 1/2 past, 1/4 to, 1 o'clock. Lights flashed up in the room. The bed curtains were drawn aside, and Scrooge found himself face to face with an unearthly visitor. Not so like a child as an old woman diminished to a child's proportions.
Its hair was white, yet the face had not a wrinkle in it, and the tenderest bloom was on the skin. It wore a tunic of the purest white and a lustrous belt round its waist. But the strangest thing about it was the bright glow of light that sprang from the crown of its head, and its belt sparkled and glittered, now in one part, now in another. What was light one instant, at another time was dark, so the figure itself fluctuated in its distinctness.
I am the ghost of Christmas past, your past. Rise and walk with me.
It would have been in vain for Scrooge to plead that the weather and the hour were not adapted to pedestrian purposes, that the bed was warm and the thermometer a long way below freezing, that he was clad but lightly in his slippers, dressing gown, and nightcap, and that he had a cold upon him at the time. The grasp, though a gentle woman's hand, was not to be resisted. He rose, but finding that the spirit made towards the window, clasped her robe in supplication.
You won't fall. Bear but a touch of my hand, and you shall be upheld in more than this.
Good heavens! I was raised in this place. I was a boy here.
You recollect the way?
Why, I could walk it blindfolded.
Strange to have forgotten it for so many years.
Some boys rode towards them on horseback, all in great spirits, shouting to each other and filling the fields with merry music.
Scrooge waved excitedly, calling out, "Hello! Hello!" But they were but shadows with no consciousness of him or his guide. They arrived at the school, not quite deserted this Christmas holiday. A solitary child, neglected by his friends, was left there still. The boy Ebenezer was alone again when all the other boys had gone home for the jolly holidays. He was not reading, but walking up and down despairingly. Scrooge looked at the ghost and, with a mournful shaking of his head, glanced anxiously towards the door.
It opened, and a little girl, much younger than the boy, came darting in and, putting her arms about his neck, addressed him as her dear, dear brother. "I have come to bring you home, dear brother," said the child, clapping her tiny hands. "Home for good and all, home for ever and ever. Father is so much kinder than he used to be that home is like heaven. He spoke so gently to me one dear night when I was going to bed that I was not afraid to ask him once more if you might come home. And he said yes. We're to be together all Christmas long and have the merriest time in all the world."
Fan, always a delicate creature, but she had a large heart.
So she had, Spirit.
She died a woman and had, I think, children.
One child?
True, your nephew, Fred.
Yes.
Scrooge next found they were in the thoroughfares of a city. The ghost stopped at a certain warehouse door which Scrooge recognized at once as the place he apprenticed.
They went in. At sight of an old gentleman sitting behind such a high desk that if he had been 2 inches taller, he must have knocked his head against the ceiling, Scrooge cried in great excitement. It was old Fezziwig, alive again. Old Fezziwig laid down his pen and looked up at the clock. He rubbed his hands, adjusted his capacious waistcoat, laughed all over himself, and called out in a comfortable, oily, rich, fat, jovial voice,
"Yo-ho there, Ebenezer! Dick!"
Scrooge's former self, now a young man, came briskly in, accompanied by his fellow prentice.
"Yo-ho, my boys," said Fezziwig. "No more work tonight. Christmas Eve, Dick. Christmas, Ebenezer. Hilly-ho! Clear away, my lads, and let's have lots of room here." It was done in a minute. Every movable was packed off, the floor was swept and watered, fuel was heaped upon the fire. The warehouse was as snug and warm and dry and bright a ballroom as you would desire to see upon a winter's night.
In came a fiddler with a music book. In came Mrs. Fezziwig, one substantial smile, and Belle, whose cheeks blushed when she saw the young Ebenezer. In came the 3 Miss Fezziwigs, beaming and lovable.
And the 6 young followers whose hearts they broke.
And all the young men and women employed in the business.
And the housemaid with her cousin the baker, and the cook and the mailman.
In they all came, one after another, pushing and pulling and joining in the dance all at once in various wild assortments of affectionate, if misplaced, groupings. There were more dances, and there was cake. There was a great piece of cold roast, and there were mince pies and plenty of beer. But the great effect of the evening came after the roast, when the fiddler struck up Sir Roger de Coverley.
Then old Fezziwig stood out to dance with Mrs. Fezziwig. Top couple. Mrs. Fezziwig was worthy to be his partner in every sense of the term. Positive light appeared to issue from Fezziwig's calves. They shone in every part of the dance like moons. You couldn't have predicted at any given time what would become of them next.
Feliz Navidad, Feliz Navidad, Feliz Navidad, próspero año y felicidad. Feliz Navidad, Feliz Navidad, Feliz Navidad, próspero año y felicidad. Yo te deseo felicidades, yo te deseo felicidades, yo te deseo felicidades desde el fondo de mi corazón. Feliz Navidad, Feliz Navidad, Feliz Navidad, próspero año y felicidad. Feliz Navidad, Feliz Navidad, Feliz Navidad, próspero año y felicidad. wanna wish you a Merry Christmas. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas from the bottom of my heart. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas from the bottom of my heart.
Such feasting! The roast, the beer, the mince pies.
A small matter to make these silly folks so full of gratitude.
Small?
Why is it not? He has spent but a few pounds of your mortal money, 3 or 4 perhaps. Is that so much that he deserves praise?
The happiness he gives is quite as great as if it had cost a fortune. Oh,
What is the matter?
nothing particular. I should like a word or two with my clerk just now. That's all.
My time grows short. Quickly.
This was not addressed to Scrooge, or to anyone whom he could see, but it produced an immediate effect, for again Scrooge saw himself. He was older now, a man in the prime of life. His face had begun to wear the signs of care and avarice. There was an eager, greedy, restless motion in the eye which showed the passion that had taken root and where the shadow of the growing tree would fall. He was not alone, but sat by the side of a fair young girl in a mourning dress, in whose eyes there were tears, which sparkled in the light that shone out of the ghost of Christmas past. Belle.
Another idol has replaced me in your heart, Ebenezer, a golden one. And if it can cheer and comfort you in years to come, like I would have tried to do, I have no just cause to grieve. You fear the world too much. I have seen your nobler aspirations fall off one by one, until the master passion, gain, engrosses you. Our contract is an old one. When it was made, you were another man. That which promised happiness when we were of one mind is fraught with misery. Now we are two. I release you. You have never sought release in words, but in a changed nature, an altered spirit. If this promise had never been between us, tell me, would you seek me out and win me today? I think not. I would gladly think otherwise. But if you were free today, would you choose a dowerless girl? You who weigh everything now by gain. Or in choosing her, do I not know that your repentance and regret surely would follow? I do, and I release you. With a full heart, for love of him you once were. May you be happy in the life you have chosen.
Spirit, show me no more. Conduct me home. Why do you delight to torture me?
I told you these were shadows of things that have been. That they are what they are. Do not blame me.
Remove me. I cannot bear it. Haunt me no longer.